KofiPaisaTV.com and get Spears of the Mossy Volume 1 by Kofi Paisa Research Team. From Spears the Pen Volume 2 by Kofi Paisa Research Team. Spiritual Combat Volume 3 by Kofi Paisa Research Team. One Night Before Bed by Any Harek Shun Calfunny. Kalawa's Trip to the Motherland by Kofi Paisa. From Cocaine to Consciousness by Any Harek Shun Calfunny. As I learned, we all learn by Kofi Paisa. Also, if you want fresh merch, go to our online store, Family Connect Apparel, and get all the brands. Also, get our 54 deck of quiz and educational cards available now on KofiPaisaTV.com.
ETM Hotel, Rennie Sean, welcome in peace. My name is Sean. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning into Kofi Paisa TV. Today, we're going to get into another Felder attempt. We're just going to go over research methodology and its importance. Hopefully we could turn this into a lesson and a learning opportunity for some people, because there's a lot of misinformation that swirls around social media networks, rightfully so, right? And the wrong information always gets in, the hands of people who are unlearned. And what happens is you have these so-called teachers or wannabe teachers that come into the community, and they're unlearned, unstudied, and they just create a following for themselves. And in creating a following for themselves, they tend to end up on the wrong side of history. So today we're going to just cover some bases on some information that you may have heard before, may not, regarding, research methodology, but pretty much primarily a critique. And we're going to critique some information that we heard today. And before we even get started, I do want to yield the floor to my brothers, Sutek, and we got Chavis in the building with us.
Hey, peace to the fam. Share Lafayette, it's your brother Sutek. We appreciate y'all for coming back through, man. Like you said, we just gonna get into a bill that was had earlier. Just review it, touch on a couple points, correct a couple points, and hopefully, like you said, turn this into a teaching lesson, a teaching moment. So make sure you please like the show as you come in. Make sure you please help us share the show as you come in. Appreciate you.
Brother Chavis, you might be busy. Yep. He went mute. All right, but anyway, when Brother Chavis come back, you know what I'm saying, we'll let him introduce himself, and then we'll kind of go from there. But right now, though, I do want to say peace to everybody in the chat. I do see a bunch of familiar faces in the chat. Oh, he's switching up. Go ahead, Brother Chavis.
Oh man, like and share the thing, and pay attention, pull out the things, you're gonna learn.
I don't know what he said, but I think I could translate it. I think at the end he said we're gonna learn. All right, so peace, Sister Ladosha, Omar, Unbiased, out there, Sadiq, Nunu, and Juju, yeah, and everybody else that may catch the stream on the replay. But yeah, help us out, man. Like the show, share the show. Robert Rand, yep, peace. You know what I'm saying? Let's get some people in the building, man. From West Africa, what's good? What's going on? What it do? What it do? All right, so I'm gonna share my screen real quick. Before I do share my screen, though, I want to recommend a couple of books. When you're talking about history, there's some books out there to teach you proper research methodology. You got this book right here. That ain't gonna do y'all no good. I ain't gonna like put myself on the screen. Right here. General History of Africa, Volume 1. Right? Methodology in African Prehistory. This is a good book. I'm actually gonna I'm gonna read something out of this book for everybody too, just so you know why I recommend this book. Sable. African, the Researcher's First Handbook. This is a good tool right here. If you can't get this book, Kofi might have some extra copies of this book. Possibly. I don't know. I know last time that I checked, Kofi was in communications with Taka, and Taka had, I think, set him up pretty nicely. Restoring History. It's also, if you look at it closely, Fundamentals of Accurate Historical Research, right? Again, Taka Kilimanjaro again. Now, you're not going to find this work, right? There was only so many copies of this particular work, but, I'm going to pull from the hip from here too. And research. How to plan, organize, and carry out research. Inside of this book is just exactly what the red ink says right there. It's a diagram book. So it shows you how to properly assess and use models, and then when to qualify or not qualify that research, right? So as you can see, some models right there. I go back. Well, let me go this way. Yeah, let me go back this way. And then it talks about how to do all of that through a step process. And then, it goes on from there. Those are big right there. You know what I'm saying? Oh, man, she didn't change her name to Miss Kofi Paisai. let me hide behind this book. Everybody say what's up to Miss Kofi Paisai, please. Brother Mathis was good. Trade, what up? Let's see what we can get cooking right here. So, let me share my screen and let me give y'all just a little piece real quick. So there's some different type of research. I don't know what's going on with this, but I didn't want that. And we're going to talk about those different types of researches and all of this stuff. But just to give you a broad example, I'm going to give you what is historical research, just right here, an outline, right? So historical research is understanding both history of the discipline you are interested in and understanding the cultural, political, and social era of the particular text you are studying. Depends on reading and knowing history. All right. So it says, continues, history's major activity is to gather evidence regarding the past, evaluate the evidence within the temporal scope of the period under study, and then access how the evidence contributes to our understanding of that period. And then it tells you some historical purposes. Okay. Now, historical research relies on, now this is key. Okay. Because you have to take this into consideration when you're talking about methodology. Historical research relies on a wide variety of sources: primary, secondary, or tradition. Primary, secondary, or tradition. All right. Now, we all should know what primary sources are. Eyewitness accounts, oral written testimonies found in the public records of legal documents, minutes, they even got minutes in newspaper articles and things of that nature, right? We can continue on. Secondary sources usually interpret the primary sources, but in this instance, it critiques of the historical period of interest that you are studying. In the study of modern history, the difference between primary and secondary are usually clear. In ancient and medieval history, this distinction is not so clear. So we have to make sure that we're clear, because you got secondhand accounts and you have oral tradition. You'll have an Arab going to West Africa and write about some things he heard, seen, but really what he heard more so, that he sat down with somebody in the village and they told him this, that, and the third, or some stuff like that. And then, of course, you know, you got your oral traditions. And there's a narrative around the oral traditions that actually make that come into fruition. Now, 2016, I wrote, 5 years ago, I wrote this, The Benefits of Research Methodology, No Pseudos Allowed. I wrote this article inspired by Saber, as you can see, a book that I sourced. And, you know, I pretty much lined it up with some definitions and things of that nature to help people understand. But I wrote this because it inspired me to actually organize the truth. Because, you know, Uncle always talked about a well-organized lie defeats a disorganized truth every time. Right? Okay. So this is when I start to really see the benefits of research methodology. So I wrote an article about it and I talked about those things. And then I began to look at information totally different and critique that information and go through the actual research steps. So I see we got some more people in the building. So, you know, like the show, share the show, tell a friend. We are live and in the building. Before we get going with our critique, I'm going to go to the general history of Africa, methodology in African prehistory. All right. And I'm going to wing this from the dome. All right. Now, hold up. Why am I even reading a book about the general history of Africa, methodology and prehistory? Because it gives you an outline on how to orchestrate your research. It talks about that and what is necessarily needed to go into certain places or in a certain field to answer certain questions. I'm bringing Africa into the equation because that's going to be something that we're going to hear soon. Because this claim has been heard before. So, you know what? I don't even want to read this just yet. I want to yield the floor to Brother Sutek and see if he wanna go ahead and get into the video, and then we can come back. Oh, he promote more likes. All right, okay. I'm gonna give him a minute then. I know what you're doing, Sutek. I'm gonna give you a minute. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna proceed since my brother he ain't ready to roll yet. Well, he rolling, but he ain't ready to roll. All right, so when you're dealing with sources, you're dealing with generally these type of sources.
My bad. Yeah, I'm here. You if you ready, we can throw it up.
Okay, yeah. Go ahead, because we can come back to the source.
All right. Hold on.
What's up? What's going on? Today we're gonna deal with maybe 2 or 3 different topics. May go on to something else. First off, big shout out to everybody that's doing something in the city, far as trying to come up with ways to try to curb the violence, to try and slow some of this stuff down, to try and get out in the streets and let people know, hey, there's some people out here that do care. There are people out here that want this, violence to slow down. And, again, shout out to everybody that's doing something to, try and prevent or decrease violence that's going on within the city. It's been going on for far too long. Last year, it picked up. It was way out of hand last year. And this year, it's like it's higher. The crime rate now, or the amount of murders, are higher this year at this time than it was last year. And last year we had more murders, or the first time that we had the amount of murders that we did on record. So, if we just surpass the amount of murders that we had ever on record, last year, and we're already above that number this year at this time doing last year, then, you know, we got some serious issues to address. We got some serious problems to address within the city. So, you know, again, you know, shout out to everybody that's doing something. I've been having something in the works. It's been something I've been talked about. I had a plan about something, but, you know, when you got people around you that's pushing you and making you do something, you know, it's like that nudge you get. So I've been given a nudge, and I'm gonna try to get some stuff started soon. I was gonna drop something on here to let y'all know, give y'all a sneak peek, but I did let some people know that, you know, that was a part of my campaign team. I dropped that information on them as to what it was or what's about to take place or what I'm going to try to do. So it's like I still been trying to do a little something behind the scenes. Last weekend, let's get to it. Last weekend, I had a discussion on the topic astrology, and I got smashed. And it's like, you know, some people like, man, what's up? What happened? I heard, you know, this was going on. I told a few people about it at work. They were like, hey, man, how it went? Like, man, that man handled me, man. That man, you know, did what he's supposed to be did. And it's like, what happened? I'm like, yeah, I wasn't prepared. And when you're going into certain situations and you're going into arenas to where you're talking about discussing or proving a certain topic or debating a certain topic, there are different realms or different areas or different phases of this information age that you need to be in. My first mistake was even going in there, because on the prepared part, I wasn't prepared because I don't even have a laptop. So if I'm going to try and explain some information that I'm presenting, and I don't even have a laptop to get a slideshow that the brother gave. Now, the brother was on point. What happened with me, another thing that happened besides being prepared, ego. Ego played a factor in it also. It was like, you know, I peeped out part of his video. And I'm like, oh, man, I can handle that part. But the part I should have peeped out that was right in my face was the information and how he was presenting the information. Now, I can get on here. I can read a book, process the information, come and give you the information, tell you where to go and get the information. That's how I deal. That's how I work. That's what's been working for me. But when you're talking about getting into a different level,
pause it real quick. Do you not see Kofi comment? Bruh.
Well, throw it in.
He said, I would throw that book in the trash right after I read it. Yo, Kofi here when he ain't here. Go ahead.
Information, because it's like you'll start to lose people that's not going to go and get the information like you. You're going to have people following, and at a certain point, they're just going to start taking your word for it. You have to be able to give them you got to give them something to visualize. You have to give them a picture. You have to start giving them, you know, something to where, okay, I see it now. So if your information is on a different level or a higher level, if they're not understanding, you got to give people something to look at. The brother gave them something to look at. That's it. That's his area. That's what they do, giving you something to look at. Man, I'm gonna tell you what I did in a minute. But the brother gave a picture. I didn't. I'm gonna tell you what I gave. He was prepared. So my ego, again, I saw the video. I say, man, here, okay, he's saying this, he's saying that. No, I can handle that. Man, I can deal with that. So we went into the like the weigh-in to make sure, you know, to get the topic right, what we're going to discuss. So I misheard or misunderstood the subject matter. So it was like at the last minute, we were like, nah, we agree upon this part here, but this is the part that, you know, he was talking about. So, you know, me and my ego, I'm like, well, someone told me, well, leave it alone, get out of there. But me and my ego, no, I'm gonna deal with him. I'm gonna show him that he ain't talking about nothing, and I'm finna handle him. So I really didn't respect how he was coming with the subject matter of what we were talking about. I didn't respect that at all. So me caught up in my ego, man, he ain't talking about nothing. I got this. I'm more skilled in this subject matter than he is, so I'm finna handle my business. So then plus I've been heat on the book, or I've been capping, I've been talking about this and that, and I'm building it up. So it's like I ain't finna get out of there at the last minute. It is what it is. Ain't no running. You got to deal with me. And it got reversed. He dealt with me. And he dealt with me. So, you know, he did what he was supposed to do. You know, I came in, wasn't prepared, wasn't organized. I didn't have anything laid out to where, and this is the crazy part, the outline that I did have, if the brother wouldn't have pushed it back at least 30 to 40 minutes, I wouldn't have even had an outline. Because I'm like, man, what he at? I'm ready to go with the video, yada, yada. I'm ready to shoot it. And I thought about it. I'm like, damn, man, you ain't even got no outline. The night before, I'm just on here screenshotting information and giving information. So I'm like, man, I ain't really worried about the book. I got this part. I'm going to send this here. So it's like, man, this sloppy as hell. It's like you got to be real with yourself. You got to be a real critic of yourself and criticize yourself. You can't just make excuses to where this what it was. No, man, that man kicked my ass, came to dealing with that subject matter. And like I told another person, man, he did what he was supposed to be and did. They come in there playing, and you half-assing around, and you're not prepared. I'm finna mash the gas, and he mashed the gas. If it were me, I would have mashed the gas on him too. You got to keep your foot on your neck, because don't jump in this arena or jump into this level of bringing the information and thinking it's sweet. And I thought it was sweet. I promise you, I thought it was sweet. Man, everything that I thought ended up being me. Everything I thought ended up being me. So again, my style or my thing is I read the book, I process the information, and I spit it, and I go from there. And it works to a certain point. But if I'm trying to talk to a larger audience, and I'm trying to explain something like astrology, and I'm trying to get the attention, I'm trying to at least show to where, all right, well, maybe I can kind of see where he going. Man, I ain't do none of that. Man, look, maybe 3 days. I think I gave that stuff 3 days of attention. I screenshotted some definitions. I looked up some other information. I had some stuff in the book. I'm like, man, I ain't finna waste my time screenshotting out of this book, man. He ain't really talking about nothing. I can handle him. Yada, yada, yada. Man, look, man. It was at one point. I can talk about it now. It was at one point, man. I was on there. Was it the third round? When he started with the beginning. This how it was with the intro. I wanted him to go first to fill him out. Man, look, man, when the man did the demonstration for the 15 minutes and they had to stop him, I saw shit. I knew I was in trouble then. Because I knew my intro may have been 4 or 5 minutes. The man ran it with the whole 15. So I knew then, all right, man, you didn't jumped out. You didn't step into some deep shit now. But I'm gonna go with it. It is what it is. I'm in the game. I didn't talk the talk. I done built it up. Hey, this what it gonna be. Man, look, man. It was like how I look at it. It was like a Buster Douglas and Mike Tyson type of thing, man. And I'm Mike Tyson. And Buster Douglas got off on me, man. It's like you get hit with that wobble. And you can just stay in the fight, just to try to stay in it as long as you can. But when you know them legs wobbling and them knees pretty much gone, and you're trying to just stay off in that thing, man, hey, sometimes you gotta know when to get in there, man. It was like a Rocky Balboa moment. Throw the towel, man. But I ain't no throwing no towel, man. You got to go and do me. But hey, man, to me, it was a great learning point. Then I got on internet the next day, man, looking at laptop. What's the price of a laptop? So it's a growing point. It's a humbling point. It's something to teach you to where if this is something you really want to do, if this is a field that you really want to jump in, don't take anybody lightly. Look at your opponent or look at the person that you're going to debate against. You have to break down every aspect of their scholarship or their research and where they're coming from. So, you know, I thought on a couple of days and I started looking at some stuff and I'm like, damn, I ain't tripping on what I'm trying to defend or what I'm trying to say. It's just I had a slop ass presentation to where how I'm trying to give it. You know, I really didn't run anything by anybody else to see, especially that was skilled in that subject matter in that area. I didn't run it by anybody. I'm just like, man, I got this. This is what it's gonna be. That's when ego plays a part in it. So, you know, again, I had never been dealt with before on that level, as far as putting out information. So for now, when it pertains to that, I ain't doing no more discussions to where I'm going to have to present the information, because right now I'm not prepared to present it far as slideshows, showing pictures, yada, yada. Now spinning it, processing it from the dome and giving it to you and telling you where I got it from, the page, the sources, I can do that all day long. But as far as moving up to a different realm, because we got people that's not going to read, we got people that's not going to go and look up the information that you're giving. You got people solely basing like what their understanding is of the information that people like me give or people like them give. They give a better viewing, a better showing, give you something to visualize more than me just getting on here spinning how I'm spinning. So again, man, it was a good learning tool. It was a good learning situation. So, you know, I don't take I laugh at it, man, because I knew I went in there playing and he did what he was supposed to be did. It's like I be talking to my partner and he an Auburn fan. I said, man, one thing about Auburn, man, when they play slop, they beat slop to death. They beat it to death. And that information in that, well, the presentation that I came with was slop, man, and he beat it to death. You that's how you handle business, man. Don't come in here playing. Next time, you know.
Hey, real quick, I just want to say it's not just the presentation. It was the information too. It was the information that sealed the deal.
Oh man, he's still using that ego. He said he had it outside. He's still president, dog. Like he don't even get it. He don't realize what you did. What you did was you immediately put him in checkmate. He was in checkmate when he considered astrology to be a science. And in the field of science, it requires information. It requires data. It requires a methodology. It requires results. It requires evidence that he ain't got. He never demonstrated that. It wasn't about his phone screenshots. That helps. But it wasn't about his screenshots. It was about how you eliminated his argument out the gate.
Right. If I'm bringing to you scientists, physicists, astrophysicists, I'm bringing to you the experimental testing, all that is done, and you bringing me a psychic and an astrologer to prove astrology, then I mean you really you messed up yourself, bro. You messed up yourself, bro.
Too. I'm gonna get them presidents he brought.
Oh yeah, the presidents. He brought anecdotal evidence in the form of presidents, U.S. presidents, like, and both of them was killed. That's the crazy thing about it. You should have picked better presidents if you was gonna do that, because both of them caught a bullet. Like that's crazy.
Real quick, because you hit on some key points, so I want to kind of I want to back you up in what, especially in what we're talking about right now. I'm going with Saber, Researcher's First-Hand Book, page 11. Reading a book or a series of books is not necessarily research. How do you ensure that what's in the book is accurate? Is it based on direct evidence? Remember, paper will put up with anything. To gain an understanding of something conceptual requires that one first grasp it mentally to get a hold of it and then study it over the course of its development. Our methods grasp as a whole in emotion. like a movie as opposed to still photography. Then uncovers the internal opposite elements within, and finally examines the course of its development throughout its life process, a process resulting from unity and struggle of opposites and constitute the moving principle of its development. Here's the key. Scientific evidence is the material world reflected by the human brain and translated into symbolic forms of thought. The untrained often worship cult-like the quoted ideas of others, but never cultivate their own. Exact data, order, or of evidence, chronology, historical context, and logical summations, deductions, inductions, analysis, synthesis, observations, comparisons, contrasts, experimentations, and evaluations are primary elementary requisites for our research. Scientific research is to become a mental mirror of reality. Look at the universe, galaxy, star, planet, ocean, landform, human life form, society, relationship, belief tree, cause, civil rights movement, abolition movement, voting rights movement, national liberation movement. All are seeds, each with a period of birth, development, decline, death, and replacement by the next. And I'm going to end right here. So how does one research this? What is one's method? The task is to mirror the movement of the object of study in the process of research, how it is born, how it's developed, how it's replicated, how it functions, how it matures, how it enters in decline, how it decays, dies, decomposes, and then passes away by transforming itself into something else. And what you did was, he didn't know, but his position was died and was decaying because it didn't stand on scientific evidence.
Right. He used no scientific principles to prove his point. Like, you can't bring me a person just like that. That's why I'm glad I put that video of Neil deGrasse right at the beginning when he was like, okay, grandma, I knew you was gonna call, but what about all the times you didn't know? So this is one of the main reasons we don't accept anecdotal evidence, because yeah, maybe it worked for you, maybe it didn't, I don't know, but you're one person in a whole. We can't use that in science. One of the problems with certain experiments is experimental testing is small study size or small case sizes. Like, so if small case sizes is a thing, how you think you're gonna use like one or two people to try to justify your point? Like, it makes no sense. So you have to go to science to understand what science is. And that's immediately what I did in the beginning of the presentation.
Facts. Yep, you defined it and then you went directly to it. And I mean, really, and it comes down to what we've been saying the entire argument: research methodology. We immediately could recognize the flaw, right? Because he didn't set it up on a scientific plane to even argue it. And even if he did, forget the presentation or how it looked. His framework was based off of his lack of understanding of what science is.
When y'all brought him on the panel, I came in late. Like I remember y'all bringing him on the panel and y'all trying to give him some pointers, you know what I'm saying, and point him to some point him to a few publications that he might need to check out. Man, I don't, he didn't listen. Like he didn't listen or didn't take heed to what, like I keep saying, what y'all was trying to direct him to. And y'all was even, I think, Sean, weren't you trying to explain methodology to him, you know what I'm saying, what proper methodology is when he was on the panel here a couple of months ago.
Yes.
So right then, just people looking at the video, from the looking at the video, and even looking like now, like when you get into this here. And first of all, this is not anything to slight this brother here. We're just critiquing the video. And shout out to brother Felder. I mean, and by me looking at brother Felder, you know what I'm saying, he reminds me of me when in early 2012, I mean late 2012, early 2013. This brother, I guess, not surrounding himself around people who are taking heed. Like he don't like at one point we all didn't understand what methodology is, but the thing that we took heed was when people came at us and and showed us or pointed us in a direction, we took heed of that, and and we did that, and we worked on it, and we began to understand what research is, what is proper research, what is methodology, what I'm saying, compared analysis, all those different types of things. So we took heed of that, and this brother, what I'm saying, again, like, it's no slight to him. I don't think he's gonna get it right until he understand that, hey man, look, you gonna, at one point, you're gonna have to take, or you're gonna have to listen to what other people are saying, man, or even look into what they are saying when we talking about methodology, man. This brother just really doesn't demonstrate methodology. He think that buying a book, and just because a person writes in a book that it is accurate, it's accurate information. Well, even he don't understand, like, what y'all talking about science. Like, he don't understand what science. He don't understand what science is. You know what I'm saying? He is science illiterate. So if he was more science literate, he wouldn't have came with those things of the psychics, because he understand when you talk about science, you talking about testing, you talking about measuring, and testing things. So the things that he brung up, you couldn't measure, you couldn't cut, and you couldn't test those types of things, man. But again, man, shout out to brother Felder, man. Again, it's just as a critique video, and this is nothing to slander the brother. So I hope if he does see this, that we're not attacking him. We're just critiquing the information that he's presenting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
not a
go ahead.
not a slight, but if he was scientifically literate, he wouldn't have never tried to debate that. He wouldn't have never tried to debate that topic, because it's a lose-lose situation, really. Like, okay, if you want to go with the testing was falsified. But if you want to look at it in a more complex way and say, okay, well, astrologers don't all agree to one set of characteristics. Okay, so that means it can't be falsified. So that means it's still not scientific. So it's a lose-lose situation. So if he was scientifically literate, he wouldn't have never put himself in that situation at all.
Right. That's what I'm saying. He's not scientific literate. I'm saying I wouldn't have even debated you, on that topic. But
the problem is the lack of research, the understanding of research methodology, and understanding what science is from the gate. So when Sutek set out his initial presentation that he let Felder watch, he didn't pay attention to the presentation. And then he didn't go back and he didn't try to define the argument. You see what I'm saying? Because he didn't understand, like, the goal of science, scientific research is to provide an extensive amount of knowledge of the world truth. Like, this information that you're gathering through science is to not only just to bring that knowledge forward, but it's not only to just falsify, but to qualify it, because then, you know what I mean, based on the evidence that presents itself, it becomes like this law, like you say, like scientific law. So I just felt like his perspective and his continued perspective. And we're going to see it in this video, depending on how far we get in the video. We're going to see it in this video that his arrogance returns, and it allows his ignorance to take over, because it becomes a delusion. And I don't think that he knows that. And, you know, he did say the other day that, you know, he's been researching or independent researching or something for however long it is. But
12, I think he said 12 or 13 years. But just looking at, like I said, last week, when after, you know, the after party, this brother is not, you know, I'm not trying to call him a liar or anything, but he's not been researching for 12 or 13 years, as he stated during a debate. He's been an independent researcher. He is making mistakes as a beginner. And like I'm saying, I see the mistakes that he made is definitely the mistake that I was quiet. You know what I'm saying? I never challenged anybody or anything, but I'm just saying I wasn't surrounded around the people that I was surrounded around then. It was just me to the face. And, you know, I was learning as I go, you know, buying books that really didn't mean anything. I didn't know anything about methodology. And you can see the same thing here. He's a beginner. He's just starting out. He's just starting out right now. So he ain't been no 12, 13 years. If that was the case, this brother wouldn't have made none of the mistakes that he definitely made during the debate, and some of the things that he wouldn't say and present some of the things that he do when he goes live on his feed to teach. He wouldn't be teaching those things.
yeah, I'm putting a quote in the chat from Takai that always sticks with me. It says, delusion is knowledge that does not correspond to reality. I'm going to say that again for everybody listening, you know, because you might not be tuned into the chat. Delusion is knowledge that does not correspond to reality. Now, if you unpack that, right? If you unpack that, because people think, oh, they're reading particular books, but the particular books you're reading could be delusional, unscientific, pseudo-historical, and pseudoscience. You could be reading those books and thinking that you're really gaining knowledge from them. But if those books are not corresponding with reality, it is deemed a delusion. It is deemed pseudoscience. It's deemed pseudo-history. It's deemed all of those things. And really, at the end of the day, that's what we're dealing with. So the critique here today is to, you know, say this, like, you started humbly within the first 12 or 15 minutes of this particular video, but then you fell back into the same Felder before. You got spanked because you allowed yourself to not learn the lesson in the debate that you partook in. And there was a strict lesson that needed to be crystal clear, and you missed the whole lesson. And so now we back to square one almost. Go ahead, Sute.
You'll do a little better, and it's gonna be a next time. I just can't let that ride like that. You know, I understand what I got to do. Again, shout out to the brother, you know, for coming with the information, for helping me understand. You know, don't take anybody lightly, regardless of how you feel and regardless of how you think you know something. Don't take anybody for granted, man. Don't go in there playing with nobody. So, you know, I got dealt with. I can admit it. I'm man enough to admit it. It is what it is. But, you know, and I needed it because I was at a point to where, you know, I really wasn't being challenged. It's like I present something, I come with something. Few people really give like back dialogue or whatever with a lot of stuff that I say, because it's like, you know, it's more of a teaching thing. People take what I say as a teaching moment. So, you know, it's not like I look at things that I present as a challenge when someone asks the question. I put something out. When we go back and forth, or when someone is putting something out, give them what you're talking about. Don't just disagree with me. Show them something, because a lot of people pay attention to what I put on there. Now, when it comes to reading the posts and all this other stuff, and what I had to understand is like doing videos. That's why I used to do late night videos, because a lot of people didn't want to be seen watching my video. And I understood why, because at that time, you know, I was on the tech mode. And a lot of people didn't want to accept or deal with what I was attacking. But it's like when you drop an information and, oh, okay, well, you saying this, Vic, but over here, you can go and look this up over here. Get the people something that they can go and look up also, to where not only am I teaching, but when you're refuting the information that I give, put something on there to where they can go and look it up also. That's how we deal. And that's going to lead me to this book here. So I just got this book in.
Make sure you clear
America
this.
is the True World.
Thank you. America is the True Old World. Discovered. Okay, everybody, look at the screen. Let's make sure that this. Let me make sure this full screened up. All right, America is the True Old World. Discovered. Let's look the book up while Sute got it on the screen. America is the True Old World. This book, now, listen to the name in this book. This book is written by a brother. His name is Amenhotep Chavis El Bey. The name of the book is America is the True Old World Discovered. It's written by Amenhotep Chavis El Bey. It is destined. Okay, it looks to rewrite the history of the old, and we're going to find out more about this because he's going to talk to us about this book. Now, more about the author of this book that he's trying to show us. I don't really want to get too much into the author, but he's talking about the land of Mu, y'all. You see, he called America Egypt. But we're gonna let that go. Go ahead. I just wanted to make that clear. Moore's writing about America.
Yeah, he did say when you get in looking before you play the video, he did say. I was just saying he did say that he's gonna say in a minute that he ain't agreeing and he ain't disagreeing with the book. He just don't know. He just unsure. He just sharing some information. He just unsure about the information because he's gonna say that he don't know if the brothers in the author is actually telling the truth or not telling the truth. He's not saying he agreeing with the book, and he's saying he not disagreeing with the book. Then he goes into sharing the information.
So, Kofi, would you share this information if you don't know if it is true or not to be true?
No, not me. Not me.
Okay. So you said that you wouldn't. So Chavis, would you do this? Would you get a book and not being able to qualify the book results? Would you come out and do this?
What would be the point of sharing literature that don't substantiate? No, my answer is no. If I'm gonna use a source, it's gonna support my claim. That's the point of utilizing the source. You know what I'm saying? So that's nonsensical. It makes no sense. What's the point of even putting the book on the screen?
Sute?
Nah, the only way I'm gonna show some stuff like this is if I'm trying to pick it apart.
Right. So, and everybody know that I do it. So if I I might post a quote from a book, right? But before posting the quote from the book, I can pretty much qualify it based on the perspective of it. Now, if I'm just going at a claim and I'm attacking a particular claim, then yeah, I'm going to post it and then I'm going to attack the claim that's made in the book. But I think that this is something that we're all trying to fully understand and comprehend in these moments is that I'm showing, okay, let me be, what I'm trying to do, y'all, is I'm trying to show y'all that he did not learn the lesson that Sute provided for him during the debate. This is an example of that because Sutek laid the groundwork for him to say, let me step back and let me actually pay attention to see what these brothers are saying, because if you felt like I kicked your behind like that, then I might need to study a little bit more and fully understand what is he saying about this and get on that level. Because remember now, Kofi came in here and told y'all that we already tried to stress the importance of research methodology and other things to the brother. But go ahead.
With Mu and the island of Mu, and the author name is Amenhotep Chavez El Bey. So if you're familiar with those names or those titles, then you pretty much know where I'm finna go with this part of the book. Now, when I was reading the preface or the introduction, I was scanning through it. Then I saw the names. You know, the brother was like,
Did it freeze up?
Yeah, bro.
This book is volume 1 of 4, so there's much more to come. This book demonstrates that beloved and renowned scholars like Dr. Ben, Dr. John Henry Clark,
Oh, there you go.
Diop, Dr. Ivan Van Sertima, and etc. were wrong about Africa being the birthplace of civilization. How?
Hold on.
First of all, this is what they were taught at the time, because they did not have access to the tools, resources that we now have to make a discovery.
Did he go back a little bit, because I want to see who he said was wrong about Africa being the birthplace of humanity, because the Moors used Ivan Van Sertima to push their Moorish agenda.
With those names or those titles, then you pretty much know where I'm finna go with this part of the book. Now, when I was reading the preface or the introduction, I was scanning through it. Then I saw the names. You know, the brother was like, this book is volume 1 of 4, so there's much more to come. This book demonstrates that beloved and renowned scholars like Dr. Ben, Dr. John Henry Clark, Dr. Diop, Dr. Ivan Van Sertima, and etc. were wrong about Africa being the birthplace of civilization. How? Well, first of all, this is what they were taught at the time, because they did not have access to the tools, resources that we now have to make the discoveries in this book. So he pretty much saying that because Africa was getting so much attention, and I guess with the slave trade and us coming from Africa, that, you know, a lot of our scholars was drawn back to the East to get a better understanding of who we were, what it was, with the discovery of like things like Lucy. And I'm gonna talk about that in a minute. What was one of the things that, like, damn, every page caught my attention. I read like 30 some of it. It's like
pause it, man.
It's 81 pages. And I stopped on like page 38.
Like I said,
It was like the food.
I would have took the book and threw it in the garbage with that statement that he made right there. You know what I'm saying? And that going back to what we keep saying right there, where he's not scientific literate, because with that statement right there, science has proven over and over and over again that humanity started on a continent that we are now calling Africa. I mean, it's been proven over and over and over and again, you know. So I would have took, so if that's why I'm saying, if he would have been scientific literate, he would have knew that that book was trash can material, and threw the book in the trash can. Even when he talks about, when the book is titled The Land of Mu, I want to read something real quick before you go any further, where we talking about the land of Mu. I'm gonna be reading something from out of, and it just real quick. It's from out of brother Jonathan Owens' book, the Magi Vanguards of Kemet, the handbook for the conscious community. You know what I'm saying? I advise everybody to get this book, man. It got some nice work in this book, and he talks about the land of Mu and who actually came up with this land of Mu term and how it's been uh this debunked. But Augustus, this is on page 37, the lost continent of Mu. And real quick, and we can move on. You can go back and play the video. Augustus Lee Pigeon is created as being the first to try to make connections between the Mayans and the ancient Egyptian culture. His theory was Mayans set civilization and exported it to Africa, Egypt via Atlantis, because he gonna mention Atlantis in here too. The lost continent of Mu was made popular by a 33rd Master Mason, James Churchwell. I'm very familiar with who James Churchwell. I'm a 32nd degree Master Mason. I have quite a few books of James Churchill and his brother. I think his brother is Albert Churchward. J.J. Churchward, building on the works of the Brooklyn resident Augustus Leah Pigeon, wanted further than says that the civilization was not set in the Yucatan, or if I'm saying that right, Yucatan, but in the land of Mu, the lost continent. James Churchward claims he actually,
Yucatan.
Yeah, Yucatan. But in the land of Mu, the lost continent, James Churchward claims he actually discovered artifacts of Mu, which were later debunked. Lepin's written seems to be a myth on his imitation. Here is a story of the Queen Mu, as Lee Pingen called it. I'm not going to go on and read it, but read the rest of it. But this was based off James Churchward got this ideal about this so-called lost continent of Mu from Lee Pigeon, you know what I'm saying, which he grasped from some type of myth of his own. But I ain't gonna read it because it's a couple of more pages to kind of go a little bit more in depth. But page 30, 37, if you got the book, you can read from page 37 at the bottom, the lost continent of Mu, where he actually, like I'm saying, he explaining where this land of Mu actually come from. These two individuals, 30, 35, no, 37, 38, and 39, where he talks a little bit more about the land of Mu, and who presented the world with this concept of the land of Mu. Damn, if I done froze up.
Nah,
Ben said James Churchward is super trash.
Depending on how you follow and how you track information, it's different levels when you talk about dealing with civilization. Well, he started with is the food part. Now, again, I'm not saying the brother wrong. I'm not saying
somebody else might have to play it. I don't know what.
I'm just saying it's a little different. It's different from again, I'm not saying I've studied. Brother wrong. I'm not saying somebody else might have to play it. I don't know what. I'm just saying it's a little different. Now, again, I'm not saying I've studied. Brother wrong. I'm just saying somebody else might have to play it. I don't know what. I'm just saying it's a little different.
Go ahead and pause it then, Sutek.
I got hold on, y'all.
You had two devices open up on Sutek?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did.
That's why it was feedback like that. He had both of them open up and divided.
Probably so.
That's why it was feedback like that. He had both of them open up and divided.
Hey, send me. I got it. Being better prepared. Yeah, that's it. What marker was we at? Like, I can catch us.
Today we're gonna deal with to make the discoveries in this book. So he pretty much said that because Africa was getting so much attention, and I guess with the slave trade and us coming from Africa, that a lot of our scholars was drawn back to the East to get a better understanding of who we were, what it was, with the discovery of like things like Lucy. And I'm gonna talk about that in a minute. What was one of the things that like damn near every page caught my attention. I read like 30 some of it. It's like it's 81 pages. And I stopped on like page 38. But it was like the food part. So you like depending on how you follow and how you track information. It's different levels when you talk about dealing with civilization. What he's starting with is the food part. Now, again, I'm not saying the brother wrong. I'm not saying he right. I'm just saying it's a little different from the scholars that I've studied. Now, I understand what he's saying. I understand why he's saying it. But I don't know. I don't know. Now, you might have some other people that might want to do some cussing and say, man, he ain't talking about none of that man lying, yada, yada. Hey, that's you. But he was saying all major foods necessary to sustain life come from the Americas. So he mainly going to deal with.
So the author states, what was his name again? Amenhotep Chavez El Bey states that all the food sources to sustain life are in America. That's one of the claims. Now he said he don't fully agree, but he ain't saying he disagree. He really can't substantiate the claim, because if you agree, you would be able to demonstrate it and explain it.
South America, and in this book he was saying South America is Atlantis. And I'm going to go to and show the map.
Second claim, South America is Atlantis.
He was saying, this is Turtle Island.
Third claim, this is Turtle Island. So we got Turtle Island, all the food resources, and South America being Atlantis.
You're dealing with North America. So he's saying this here is Atlantis. There I go. It's showing the book. I ain't got no slideshow. So I got to show y'all this here from my phone. And with this being Atlantis, he was saying that, with the discoveries of mummies, the mummies that were found here in the Americas or in South America are older. And with them being older, the mummies outdate the mummies that were found in Africa. Now, when he talked about the mummies, he said that Lucy was more of a, let me get it right. Lucy wasn't a human. I'm going to give you this brother words. Y'all won't think I'm just throwing something out. Okay. The famous bones of Lucy that were found in Africa do not count as the oldest bones of modern day humans, because Lucy was not a modern day human. Lucy was a hominid ape species that the Charles Darwin theory of evolution rests upon, because academics profess that modern day man evolved from Lucy, aka apes. Now,
it doesn't say that we come from or descend from a Lucy, right? So why we on the subject of Lucy, right? What was she found in Kenya?
Kenya or Ethiopia?
Ethiopia. All right, so here we go. It's on the screens. Australopithecus. Okay, that's what she is. Now, Lucy is a common name of AL2881. Several hundred pieces of fossilized bone representing 40% of the skeleton of the female of a hominid species called Australopithecus afarensis. Now, in Ethiopia, the assembly is also known as Dankanesh. You hear Unc say it all the time. The marvelous one. This is his favorite thing to say. Dankanesh, the marvelous one, right? So, Lucy specimens is also early Australopithecine is dated to 3.2 million years ago. All right, she's an hominid. Now, the reason why we go back to the original claim, remember he said that you know, people were here and been here on this continent for, you know, or what did he say, that America is actually Africa. So he's saying that Homo sapiens sapiens inhabited America way before, well, America is Africa here, right? But no, archaeological evidence, and even bringing up Lucy into the argument, right? Archaeological evidence, digging and you know, and all these people like the Leakeys and all of that, all the evidence. Here we go, right here. Look, the hominid timeline. Walk it on down. But to the point is, you find all hominids were found on the continent of Africa, right? Every one of them jokers, Homo erectus, Homo habiligandus, Australopithecus, all of them hominids, all of them. And then you find the oldest Homo sapiens sapien 350,000 years ago in Africa. So let's see what let's see the rest of the argument here.
I don't agree with that. Now, because Lucy was not a modern day human. Lucy was a hominid, ape species that the Charles Darwin theory of evolution rests upon, because academics profess that modern day man evolved from Lucy, aka apes. Now, I don't agree with that. Now, I don't agree that people came from apes. Now, I don't understand, you know, I didn't go back and look for have an understanding of his theory far as, you know, man or mankind developing from apes or evolving from apes. Now, that is something that I do not agree with.
Huh?
Do not agree with that part, because when
Who got a problem with that? You don't want to be a great ape?
I'm just trying to, like, do he understand the taxonomy? Like
No,
do you?
I
He
don't think
can't.
I don't think he's familiar with taxonomy.
How are you gonna disagree with that, bro? What evidence where did we come from? If that's the case, if you don't, like, do we think we just somebody snapped their fingers and we just, you know,
Yes.
just okay, I'm done. All right.
Me probably a creationist like Jabbar.
Let's go.
you talk about evolution, you know, why do we still have monkeys? Why haven't the monkeys, you know, evolved?
So he doesn't understand evolution either.
Nah, cause I'm gonna make this point. We got the dogs, all breed of dogs descend from the gray wolf. We still got gray wolves.
Right. Instant kill.
Yeah, that point is mute. That's moot. That was a ridiculous statement to even make. Like, that shows, like Kofi said, there is a lack of scientific literacy here.
Yep. Hit that button.
Why they ain't talking? Why they ain't driving cars and doing regular or up-to-date stuff? But, you know, this guy here was talking about, you know, far as what Lucy is or what Lucy was. The oldest Homo sapiens sapien is in Morocco, North Africa, 300,000 years.
That's Sutek in the chat. That was you, huh? Sutek, you made that comment.
I want to see how you respond to that. How
No. Listen to me. Listen to me. I didn't even have to say nothing, and I knew it was Sutek. Because every time dude getting corrected, it's either me or Sutek correcting him because the people that follow him have no earthly idea. So we know Sutek made the comment. Now we confirmed it was Sutek. So let's see what he say.
Okay. Now he's talking about what he said.
he trying to comprehend?
He's talking about one to where they found something in the Spirit Cave mummy in Fallen, Nevada. It's 9,400 years old. The oldest mummy in the world. And it is in the Americas. According to this author now, this is what he's saying. You got another one. He said this is the Chincoro mummies in South America, North Chile.
Wait a minute, bro. Wait a minute. Why are we talking about mummies? Why are we talking about mummies? And we was just talking about Homo sapiens being in Morocco. Like, where's the correlation?
Skip all that. What you mean?
I'm trying to figure out how he just you know how many years this man just skipped in that.
They don't matter. You couldn't catch him.
Oh, man, come on, man. He got to do better, man. This is ridiculous.
You can't catch him. He gonna come back. Let's see if he come back.
Which are older than any mummies in Egypt. Then he has another one in Chincoro, which is another, what he's saying is 7,000.
Real quick. So he just said that there was mummies that were older than Egypt. You feel what I'm saying? Like, listen to the argument. That argument is really out of ignorance, but he's blaming it back on the author. Let's watch.
1,000 years old. So this is what he's giving. That's the mummy that's supposed to be 9,400 years old. These other two mummies over here are 7,000 years old. And he's saying that these are the mummies that were in South America. So to him, South America is going to have your oldest civilization. Then he got to talking about the where the food product is. Go back to that.
Hold on, bro. Let's hold on. We can't chase him down a rabbit hole.
I just want to know, like, he just said mummies and that's it. So basically, his premise is based on the mummies being older.
Pretty much.
What metric uses mummies as a determinant for civilization?
No, for life, the existence of humans, Homo sapiens.
But he wasn't talking about Homo sapiens, though. He talking about Australopithecus. That's not Homo sapiens.
Yeah, but he had mentioned Homo sapiens earlier.
But they come from Africa. They don't. There's a whole route that they get to America.
No, the Homo sapiens here, the oldest Homo sapien that you're going to find in the New World per se is going to be between 10 and 13,000 years ago, because it was uninhabitable prior to that because of the ice age, and the ice was a mile high. So if you can fathom a mile in your brain, think about seeing an ice sheet that's a mile high in the sky and covering up about 70% or more of the United States as a cap. So you had a mile-high ice cap that crossed the United States. So it was uninhabitable. There was no land beneath your feet. You would have to dig all the way down in the cold ice in order to get to the land. Here we go.
South and Central America are the true old world because of the major foods needed to sustain life. Came from the Americas and were later taken to Africa and Asia. Squash, tomatoes, corn, potatoes, beans, wheat, yams, wild rice, which was modified, modern white rice, yada, yada, peanuts. 90% of all your fruits and vegetables come from the Americas. And he gave his source was Wikipedia.org, wiki list of food plants in America.
Here we go, Sute. Where you at, baby? Where you at? You ready? Hold on.
Hey, I'm in the chat like, bruh, he saws Wikipedia in a book.
No, not in the book, not Wikipedia. It got sources in there. Come on, man.
Sute. Hold on, Sute. Where you at? Let me find this comment. Hold on. There you go. He listed Wiki in a book.
Have y'all got? I had to step away for a minute, man. My mama was on the phone. Y'all done got to the pineapple yet, man?
No. We get to the pineapple. Right now we at the pyramid. So before we even hit play, Sute, do you want to explain? Do you want to qualify what a pyramid is?
Yeah, pyramid it's a triangular shape. It has a flat base and an apex point at the top. So that means at the top, it comes to a point, not a flat top, not no kid and play, not none of that, bro. It comes to a point at the top. It's called the apex. That's what a pyramid is. If it don't have an apex, it's not a pyramid.
I hope y'all get that. You said if it don't have a what at the top?
Apex, meaning a point. It comes to a point at the top.
Okay. So it's not a pyramid if it don't come to a point at the top.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Just making sure we clear. Okay. So now that we clear, y'all, we're going to hit play.
Maybe older. Don't mean civilization started in the Americas, though. Okay. So he was saying that the oldest pyramids are in the Americas also. So his thing was the step pyramids. And, reading this part, he was saying the step pyramids, how it was structured, how it was built, was more so sophisticated. And, yeah, man, he listed, he listed it in the book. But the pyramid structure, and he was saying that, the sophistication and how much more well put together these pyramids were in the Americas, because he's gonna go to the Mayans in a minute, and he's breaking down the Mayans. And what he was saying is the Mayans are the Olmecs, and the Olmecs didn't come from Africa. He said the Olmecs were already here, so pretty much what was here went to Africa, because he's saying there's no evidence or any structures or any stone monuments that can show that there is a connection with Africa and the Olmecs. And he talked about the calendar and the Mayan calendar, and the Mayan calendar is really the Olmec calendar, and the civilization was going from west to east. Then when he got to talking about the pyramids in America, now I know one time I had mentioned about I was studying the Mississippi River, and I was studying the flow of the Mississippi and the flow of the Nile. And there were some names that was matching off the Mississippi River that was kind of matching over here off the Nile River. But they talk about mounds. They didn't call them pyramids, they called them mounds. But when I typed in pyramids, I was typing in pyramids of America, but it typed in pyramids in Alabama. And it was Anniston, Oxford, Jacksonville, Alabama, Moundville, Alabama, to where you have these different places that you have mounds or mounds are actually located. But these mounds are covered in like grass and dirt and things like that. And I remember hearing another guy break it down. He was like, you know, those were like your mud type structures. Those were not stone monuments. That's why the grass is growing on over them. These are not really your typical pyramids that you would see in Egypt.
Hey, stop it.
So that's
He killed himself right there. Those are not pyramids. He said that they was built out of mud. Now, when you go back and look at Kemet and see when Kemet first started building there, when they first started building, they started building in mud. They started looking at and learning from the termites and the ants, building those dirt mounds that they had. So the people in Kemet, the Remich, they started building in mud first. They didn't build the pyramid stage, came later on. So they did build some form of what we would consider mounds over here. But they wasn't pyramids. They called them mastabas. You know, these step like
Mustabas.
Yeah, mustabas. I
And
said
then
mastabas.
they evolved into what, Kofi?
They
went from
evolved
Mustabas
to pyramids. They went from mud brick to lime. The
Mm-hmm.
first form of a pyramid was a step pyramid, which was the mastabas, and they took the mastabas and stacked the mastabas on top of each other, and then created this apex point, which created the first pyramid by the Nasubidi Zolja, which was the step pyramid. Then from that, this involved into the age of the pyramid age from after that. So right then and there, he should have known better since that what the hell he's talking about is not no damn pyramids over here.
Correct. So we have a bunch of those mastabas that are near pyramid sites from where we could see the evolution of basically how they buried the dead, because they went from pit mounds, which they would dig a pit in the sand in the desert, and they would place the body in there with those jaws and all of that, and their belongings of people who died, and the earth would naturally mummify the body because of how dry it was. It would naturally preserve the body, and people would be like that. And then over time, those pit mounds began to be covered up because, you know, the earth's moving and everything is going. So you got things growing. So that sand, that desert began to cover those up. And then we see the evolution of the mastabas. And then we get the step, like you said, and didn't go through that whole process. Like you did presentation on that, I did a presentation on that. We pretty much covered the evolutionary point of how they got to the Great Pyramids.
Right.
Yeah, man.
And I check that out. How people, I think the title of it is how the Remich buried they did. Is I think the title of mine. I think yours had to do with something more archaeological.
I forgot the name of it. Master builders in Egypt. I don't know. Shoot.
Somebody. It's on the channel though. It's on here.
I won't even compare. I won't even let them compare the step pyramids to those mounds. Like you got to compare mounds to mounds. But Kemet had mounds too.
We wasn't comparing it. We wasn't comparing it to mounds. We were just saying the evolution. When you look at what he's talking about, mound and dirt, that's what the Remich did. That's what they were. And then they took it and they started stacking them and created the pyramid.
Hold on real quick. Hold on. Y'all got it. Listen, y'all got to see this. This fool, he said they came before Columbus, take 999 action. Oh man, go ahead. Y'all be here playing with y'all.
Them burial mounds they call tumuli. I put it in the chat. Look that up, anybody, if you need to check that out. Let me share my screen real quick though and show something while we talking about.
Go ahead. It's on you.
All right, so this live science. I'll drop the link in the chat. Hold on. Boom, there we go. And it's basically talking about, see the title, mysterious South American mounds are made of worm poop. So when you comparing these mounds to what was done in Kemet, you got to realize that the structures that were made in Kemet are man-made. These were made by humans. These mounds over in South America, they were naturally made. Let me see. A little quick article. Large, mysterious mounds of soil found in the tropical grasslands of Los Llanos in South America finally have a scientific explanation. Giant worms. The mounds found near the Orinoco or whatever that is river in Colombia and Venezuela are called Sorales or Soralises, or however you say that. Now, researchers have discovered that half of the mass of these dense soil piles are composed of earthworm excrement. So, worm poop. The mounds form when worms, many reaching more than 3 feet in length, digest the dirt in the shallow, flooded grasslands of Los Llanos. Researchers report today. As they feed on the organic material in the soil, worms excrete casts, which are essentially worm poops. These casts pile up to form mounds 1.6 feet to 16.4 feet in diameter. The Sorales can grow as high as 6.5 feet tall. So when we talking about pyramids, just know the people over there in Kemet, the Remets, they did that themselves. That's a man-made. Those are man-made structures. These mounds over in South America, you could thank the worms for that. But yeah, that's all.
So that's not mud. That's worm poop. That's not mud there.
Yeah, it's worm poop.
Another claim that they have to show that civilization started in America and not in Egypt, and that whatever was started here, it went back and they migrated back to the east and started building pyramids. But if you understand these pyramid structure or the pyramids or the understanding of the history of pyramids, you would know that even when you deal with the Sudan, or you want to call it Kush, that there are more pyramids down there than it is in Egypt. You got to also understand Nubia also, your connection with Nubia to Egypt. So it's a lot that he's missing or he's not putting in, but he's going more so towards, or his comparison is Egypt, because I guess that's what everybody like to go to. That's the go-to for a lot of people is Egypt. He also mentioned was also significant about the said article is that it gives evidence of the Mayans reaching Louisiana and lower Mississippi Valley between 30,000 years ago. And the article gives evidence of Mayan burial remains graves that are 20,000 years old, which is older than any burial remains of modern day humans found thus far anywhere. Now, I was studying another thing where South Carolina has a large number of natives, or what you would call blacks or black Africans or African natives or people that were indigenous to the land. And one segment I was watching, I think they had mummies or they had bones that go back to 30 to 50,000 years. So if they have evidence to where they went back and found evidence of 30 to 50,000 year mummies or bones, and you're saying that it started in South America, then we got a problem with you saying these mummies or these bones that were found are the oldest. Again, type in South Carolina or black South Carolina natives or indigenous people. And because it's like another segment on YouTube where people, the people are talking, or the black natives there are talking, and they're giving you the rundown of their history. And they have archaeologists that came in and did a study on the bone.
Hey, ain't he talking about the Gullah?
Yeah, but they ain't been there. Ain't been in no South Carolina no 30 to 50,000 years.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, he making it up. But I understand that he making it up. But he trying to refer to the gullah. That's my point.
Yeah, that's what. And is the author is his premise. It seemed like the more he talked, the author premise is the same as Dane Calloway, or Dane Calloway getting his information from him, because their main premise is the slave trade was in reverse. Everything was here, and then everything was taken to uh,
Right.
uh to the other
Yeah,
America, into Africa.
yeah. I just think they both. Yeah, I don't know if they relying on one another or whatnot, but the perspective of the thing, he put it in the book. No matter how wrong it was, he put it in the book. So we can't just give that to Dane unless we get to the sources. And but the problem is that Felder is acknowledging the fact that where he didn't agree with where he had points of contention. But even when you have points of contention, you got to be able to bring that point of contention out based on qualified evidence, because you have, like I said, you have quantitative and qualitative evidence, and you want to provide that for your audience so that they can know. This is why we're talking about methodology, because it comes back to ding, 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 being able to qualify that source. So you don't want to look at just the author. You got to see where the author's claim is actually coming from or initiated from, because he dismissed Dr. Ben, Sheikh Antijot, Vint Sertima, and Clark. And I would go ahead and lump John G. Jackson and the other ones in there too. But I want to kind of skip ahead a little bit, but I don't want to get past the pineapples. I cannot get past the pineapples.
Ooh.
Olmecs having some type of civilization brought, because you know what's going to go next is the Washita tribe.
Okay.
His connection to the food.
I don't care about that.
And not the East also, but
I don't care about that.
These people actually existed. So to hear people, you know, it is like the brother was down there upset, like, man, I'm over 50-some years old, and I never knew none of this. I think the brother said he had read the book by Chancellor Williams on Destruction of Black Civilization. And that was it. So it's like, damn, man, you know, we have people, or, you know, we go on back and forth about bickering about, you know, the work and how the work should be looked at and studied. But it's like, shit, we still have people don't even know these guys even have work. They did the work. And that, you know, what's been taught from the West a lot of time is incorrect, and it's been whitewashed. Just like they're trying to whitewash history now. I was watching somebody sent me some videos about they was having a hearing, I think in Texas or Kansas. Truly were. And you say we were mixed in with these people, we were taking him, when we've had several instances to where blacks had land, black was
buried in the better water. The hidden history of racial, what is that? Cleaning in America. That's written by Elliot Jaspin. Let's look that up. Why is you laughing, man?
I mean, these books he be pulling out, he be trying to, I never heard of. Never heard of. I'm finna look it up now.
Better water. The book is written by Elliot G. Jaspin. It's unequivocal evidence of mass racial expulsion, the history of racial cleansing in America. I'm on Google Books. So the outlines: we the people, McNeil's feet, forced labor, disturbing situations, don't kill us all white diversity, the burning cow, something in the air, a dog named nigger, the horse thief detective association, bedtime stories, lost, stolen, or strayed. Let's see. The introduction says the story of how I found America's racial cleansing begins in an unlikely place, a small town in Berryville in northwest Arkansas. I was visiting there in '98 with time on my hands, decided a small history museum in the center of the town. It was a quirky place. One room was devoted to antique embalming equipment with all sorts of bracken break piled on tables. Man, this don't go nowhere. Okay, let's just hear what he said.
Was prospering. Blacks was doing what they wanted to do, far as building economics, education. Blacks wasn't bothering anybody, but you had racist whites that came in and pretty much did a cleansing, an ethnic cleansing on our people. Peace, God. And did an ethnic cleansing on our people. So you just talking about one instance where you're bringing the attention up to Black Wall Street. I saw another article where they're talking about they're investigating a bombing that happened in Philadelphia. And I think that was in what, the 70s?
This is another instance of the brother coming into information because he didn't know anything about the Philadelphia bombing. Look at his face. He's very clueless because he just said he's just reading something about Philadelphia bombing. Like we rehash that every year on social media, but we also talk about that to show how the government has actually mistreated Black people as a whole as well. So this is probably, something that we don't want to listen to all the way. So I'm not even going to go there with that one. We need to get to the pineapples.
Africa 1 minute. You may see me dealing with some esoteric stuff another minute. A lot of work. We got a lot of information that need to be passed along far as where our people stand, what they know, how they know it. I understand Africa is something that we also need to know about. Africa is like the importance of what we were before they destroyed us mentally is important. Who we were and what we were before they destroyed us again mentally is important. We have to know prior to what some would want to say 1492 and the stories that have been told since then, a lot of that stuff is fabricated. A lot of that stuff has been twisted. And, it's a lot of incorrect history that's been given us, a lot of history that has not been given. So, we have to go about trying to be more diverse in our teachings. That's why you may see me dealing with Africa 1 minute. You may see me dealing with some esoteric stuff another minute. You may see me dealing with symbolism. I may deal with law another minute. Like now I'm trying to go back to like American history. Man, I try to be in all kind of areas to where, I think we shouldn't limit the information that we have. We shouldn't limit the information that we know. We need to make sure that if people are looking at us and checking out our work and checking out our videos, we need to be more diverse in it. I talk about the anatomy, healthy lifestyles. I had a brother, I did a mix up one time with some herbs and some more stuff. So the brother didn't come back, man. I said, man, maybe I messed that one up. But the other day he was like, hey, man, I need another one of them things you hooked up. It cleaned the brother out now. I know I took some and it flushed me out pretty good. So, we have to be more aware of health. Different thing. Now I've got some information about the CIA. And now I don't deal with like governmental CIA type stuff being released. Now I stay away from that type of stuff there, man. It don't mean that I don't know it, but I don't open up that can right there. I got one coming up. I was gonna do another drop on the COVID. The video that I did early last year when COVID was
leave COVID alone. Tell them leave COVID alone. Don't touch
I did a
that.
breakdown of Corona, and the video is not on Facebook. And I'm waiting on another article to come up that I posted from the New York Times. And everything that I broke down in that video in February was in an article later in July. So whenever that article popped back up on my news feed in July, it should give me like a run back of the video that I did or the time that I did it, but I can't find the video. I already know what happened to the video, so it is what it is. But again, man, y'all be more aware of what's going on. We got what we got going on in the city. We got to stop the violence rallies in the city. About the communities or a lot going on within the city to where you have for your it takes
Coffee. Have I passed the
so when it's gonna start getting better into the community? What resources are you getting in last week too, man? I appreciate you.
I think he's talking about COVID now. I think you know,
I appreciate you coming in there riding with me, man. I promise you, man. I appreciate this, how to do that, how to better set it up. So, you know, it's just utilizing, you know, the people that you got around you, man. So again, and chill on out. Because you can't drink no more than 2. Can't drink no more than 2 and slideshow debates until I get my laptop game up. That's it.
I'm glad he said that.
Huh? Yeah, he talking to me right now.
Yeah, he won't be debating you no time soon until he get his laptop and his
He don't know. He don't want to discuss that topic with me, bro.
He not
Sutek
ready.
was too nice. I'm not gonna be nice. I got, you know what I mean. I'm just going to compile too many sources for him to actually over. I'm gonna eat away at his methodology. So
you gonna JJ 7,000 that boy?
Yeah.
Hey, everything is everything. Said y'all promised pineapples. I just found it too.
Hey, hold on, y'all. We trying to find it.
I just found it. It's at the 31-minute mark.
Where is it at?
It's at the 31-minute mark.
Yeah, it got to be around. We were talking about the food.
Pineapple, man. You need a pineapple,
y'all
bro.
promised pineapples. Where are the pineapples at? Show us the pineapple.
Hold up, y'all. Hold up.
Strong evidence that Punt was in South America because the Egyptians showed on their temple engraving what they had brought from Punt, which had to be in the Americas. So, you know, there go his connection to the food. Where's that picture he got? Of his shit suit. So I only read like 30 pages, man, because as another guy was reading it, and the guy was like starting to buy into what was being said. I'm like, hey, you know, you gotta wait a minute, man. You just can't dive off in there because you see some similarities. I'm gonna bring you some more books, and we can go from there. But he had a picture of his shit suit. And this is it. With the pineapple and whatever other fruit or whatever he said that was in there that she was eating. So, no.
What people eating the pineapples at, Sean? Sean, where would have Sep eating the pineapples at?
I don't know. Where did you get them from?
Didn't he say over here, South America, somewhere he said she was eating pineapple?
So far, man, that's what I got.
Hold on, you messing it up.
See some similarities. I'm gonna bring you some more books, and we can go from there. His shit, dude. And this is it. With the pineapple and whatever other fruit or whatever he said that was in there that she was eating. So far, man, that's what I got. You know, the food, the the pyramid structure, and the migration was from the west, not the east. So our civilization started here. He got another section in there talking about the masonry part and how masonry started in the west and not the east also. But we'll deal with that another day. But that's what I got on that so far. Another thing that's been talked about is the 100-year massacre that they're talking about with Tulsa, Greenwood, aka Black Wall Street. Strong evidence that Punt was in South America because the Egyptians showed on their temple engraving Olmecs having some type of civilization brought, because you know what's going to go next is the Washita tribe. And I saw that in here too, dealing with the Washita. Then he was saying that Punt, he said he strongly believed Punt was in South America because the Egyptians do come from Punt, Ethiopia, and both nations, Mayans and Egyptians, did trading together, which is evident when you look at Pharaoh Hatshepsut's temple engraving, which depicts a maize/corn cob and a pineapple, both of which are indigenous to Americas. The said figures of the maize and the pineapple is strong evidence that Punt was in South America because the Egyptians showed on their temple engraving what they had brought from, which had to be in the Americas. So, you know, there go his connection to the food. Where is that picture he got?
So Punt is yo, what Kofi commented? He need to follow the instructions. Listen, do what Kofi said, bro. Throw the book in the trash right after you read it. Don't resort back to it ever in life. Don't let your kid read it. Nothing. Don't throw the damn book away. And don't you ever go live and bring that shit up. Don't ever go live and do this again. You is out of your rabbit mind. What y'all gotta say? We can feel it. We on your ass. Look. We on your. Where you at, Felder? Where you at?
That's why the brother can't be humble, Sean. He started out humble in the beginning. And when you got in there and got on his head, that's when he went back to that arrogance and that cocky stuff, man. I think he think you trying to sun him and make him look bad in front of his followers.
I don't care. I ain't trying to sun him. Nah, I ain't trying to sun him, but I don't care how he feel. He laughing though. He just saying the video right there. I just 13 minutes ago. Where you at? Get in here with that pseudo ass book. Get in here.
Where you see him at? I
sent the link. I sent the show to him.
Oh, okay. And he just looked at it in the Facebook message.
Yeah, he's seen it though, because he made a post. He made a post after we went live.
Okay, hold on. So my screen still showing?
Oh. Nah, it ain't sharing no more.
All right, hold up.
Okay, shit suit.
Hold up.
Not busy.
Yeah, it's gonna be pseudo comment.
Stop!
Oh, Kofi. We do not want to hear Miss Kofi Pie's eye being harassed. Here we go. The so-called scholar dedicating videos to me. Alabama Vic. What they call me in the research community. Small fries don't get this type of attention. Keep building my name. I appreciate the love. Thank you. And no, it is not a female kind of, I think. My purpose bigger. Yeah, we're going to build you up. We're going to make you the next young Pseudo. Whatever that means. But nah, man.
Yeah.
Let me get off this real quick. Let me clear that out real quick. And the moral of the story is this: like, when you're reading junk, you're gonna retain junk. And the best comment, one of the best comments or most influential comments in the chat is this one: he is too remedial to pursue an autodidactic approach to learning. And I think that's important because being an autodidact requires a certain level of a true autodidact requires a certain level of discernment and focus, right? In order for you to, to know. And I don't think the brother is genuinely wanting to know, because some of the stuff that he deals with, the topics that he deal with, he could find the truth out from that. Better yet, I'm gonna tell you one even better, and I don't know if he listening or not, but I hope he listening. He actually could come ask us, or he can go ask Coach. So the things that he have questions about, right? Like he's reading something, and then he might have a question about who is he going to get the answer. You feel what I'm saying? Like if I'm reading something, right, I'll go in the chat. I'll go in the chat and I'll say something, and I'll put something in the chat or something like that. Or somebody else might put something in the chat. And then we build on it. You know what I mean? We might argue back and forth about it. We might say this or we might say that, but we come to each other with that information. We do that between this team, between Amasi. Like we stay with that because that helps us move information forward. Like it's things that we want to bring out to people that we don't even put on Facebook and stuff like that. We just keep it in the back check because we iron it all out till we get more information. But
Yeah,
who could he go to?
Nobody. I mean, he could go to Coach. I'm quite sure it's a few people he probably could go to. But the thing is, and this is just what I've been observing, just watching Felder, even before the contention with between you and him, and the debate between him and Sutek. He just has just me, for me, like, again, observing, he just have an issue. And I know people like that. They don't like to be told what to do. As they feel like when a person is coming at you, like with me, I don't have a problem with somebody critiquing me, because I always say that, you know, I don't confess to know everything. I don't know everything. I make mistakes. We all make mistakes. So if a person comes to me and they come to me right, I don't mind listening, you know what I'm saying, and gaining some insight on where I went wrong at. But you got a lot of people, no matter how you come to them, they feel like you attacking them. You know what I'm saying? You trying to belittle them. You trying to sun them. You know what I'm saying? You trying to assassinate their character because you pointing out a flaw or some inaccuracy in some of his information. And especially he takes offense to a lot of those things when y'all comment on his videos, because he made that very clear last time. Y'all trying to make him look bad in front of he said his followers. I think that's what he called the people that watches his thing. But he has an issue with somebody telling him and pointing him out, hey man, this ain't the way, man. Hey, you might, look at this, look at that. Let me show you how to, truly research. Let me show you what method or whatever it is. He just has an issue with listening to people. And like I said, I know a lot of people like that, and those type of individuals, they won't go far at all. You know what I'm saying? And then those type of individuals, because he did the same thing last week. He made fun of Sutek having a team. You know what I'm saying? But he don't understand that is the African worldview. We understand that teams win. And just like you said, we make each other better. We talk, you know what I'm saying, in the back checks, post information, we look at each other information. We may not be sure on certain things. So we ask, each other certain things, and we don't mind it. We don't mind asking other people for help. But you got people like him that does not want help from anybody else. He wants to learn on his own. He don't want nobody to tell him what to do. I guess he feel like that he's not a true researcher if he gets some information from someone else. But I don't mind getting no information from somebody else. I'm gonna do it in a minute. If I don't know, I'm finna go to somebody else. If they can point me in the right direction,
I don't mind, shoot, help me. But that's just how it is with him, and it don't matter what we say or what anybody say, man. That brother's not gonna look or lean toward nobody to try to get some understanding, you know what I'm saying, or get some help. He wants to learn it on his own. He wants to look like he's the big dog, because that's what he does. He wants to be the man. He wants to be the big dog. That's why he talks arrogant. That's why he talks cocky. That's why he throws shots and be disrespectful. You know, but yeah, man. Like I said, some people just don't want no help, bro.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Till he gets some type of methodology, man. You know what I'm saying? It's been, to be honest, Felder, man, I really ain't even like wasting my time with you, bro. I'm working on a whole another book, but you ain't adhering to the lesson that you were supposed to have learned when you got in the ring with Sutek about astrology. You just didn't adhere to the lesson that. And we go back and we watch that and we listen to Sutek and his opening and we listen for 15 minutes on how he demonstrates in that 15 minutes. You didn't even pay attention to that. You didn't realize that you was getting smacked up until you was like, oh man, he visually beating me up because the people can see what he got going on. And then you was sitting there just asking questions. You kept asking him about something that he answered. He took listen to me. He took your argument away from you because he immediately addressed the studies, not one study, pluralized studies, right? The astrologers supposedly had. These were these studies. They wasn't double blinded or none of that. They was controlled in the realm of astrologers, but they found the errors in them. They falsified every study that the astrologers had. That was your only piece of argument that you could have brought to a scientific discussion, because it would have made your argument look sound like, oh, okay, so they did do studies. But if you read those studies and not knew the conclusions to those studies, then you could get away with presenting that to people who are unaware and then not get caught in the moment. However, because people was familiar with those studies and Sutek was familiar with the studies because he brought them out to you, you had nowhere to run. So your experiments debunked. Your studies, he had. You had nowhere to run but in the realm of a belief. It was outside the natural world. It wasn't observable or testifiable. It was falsifiable, and therefore the evidence beat you up. He could have just talked it out and beat you up with that. But he do what we do best. We demonstration beat conversation. We live by it, we die by it. And you didn't get that lesson. His methodology is much better than yours. It's just the truth.
Yeah. Can a teacher be taught, man?
Man, all the time.
Okay. So, right there, a teacher can be taught. And he says he's a teacher. That's what he does. He teaches. That's what he says. That's what he says all the time. His lives is for him to teach. He teaches. So he gonna have to get it. He gonna have to get it. He gonna have to understand too that a teacher can also learn too. A teacher can also learn from his student, a follower, if that's what you want to call it. So a teacher can learn. And I think he has the conception of, again, he's the teacher. No one can teach the teacher. You know what I'm saying? So that's just crazy to me, man.
Okay. Yeah, pretty much so. Pretty much. That's how it go down though. But I mean, what could we say? You know what I'm saying? What could we say differently? I mean, those expectations are those expectations from those type of people.
Yeah.
And until he learned that, it goes from there. But I mean, that's what keep people stuck. This is what keep people stuck.
I'm willing to give him
A Como
he,
J. He
who?
said, "What's the link?
Oh,
What you want? You got some smoke?"
yeah, he finna smash everything you said up. But I don't know if it failed to listen or not. But I mean, if he listen, he go back and listen to this in the archive. You know what I'm saying? Even if he don't want our help, you know what I'm saying? I don't have nothing against the brother.
No,
I
yeah.
give him a
I mean, I
book.
want him refusing help in itself though is ignorant. You
Yeah,
feel
but
me?
yeah, it is. But I'll give him, I'll give you a book. I'll give you a book on methodology to teach you what we keep talking
You
about.
got a book? What book you gonna give him?
I give him, man, one of my universal
Hold on, how
chemistry.
many do you have?
I got two of the ones that he reached and signed me, and then I got one I purchased a while back here from him. So I got at least three, and
So
I got a
you got three.
PDF.
So you got three books, huh?
Well, I actually got four. I got a PDF
For the
on
same book?
research methodology. No, it's another book. It's
Nah,
actually the book that
I'm talking about the one book that I got that you didn't have until you
I
called him and got and luckily got two books sent to you.
yeah, I got two of them. I sent him one of those. You
Mm,
know, I sent him the one the
mm.
I can't think of the research book because they got many research books, but one I bought about 2 or 3 years ago. I sent him that one. You know, it's marked up. I got marks and underlines in there, so I mean he can use that one, or I can send him the one that
Is he gonna read
uh
the book? Is he gonna read that book though?
I don't know. I mean, he like reading. I'm quite sure he probably would, man. You know,
You think he like reading or you think he like reading the wrong shit?
I think he like reading. He just don't have nobody to direct him to what the well, once he learned what methodology is, I think he'll stay away from a lot of stuff. He'll know like right off the rip how to stay away from a lot of stuff. And one is like looking at a book, and just because a book has a title on it, he automatically know, okay, well, I hadn't heard of this author, but the title seems interesting. Let me go and investigate first. So let me go and look up the author. Let me go and see what the if I can read the introduction page by looking it up, or even if I'm on Amazon, or let me see if they'll let me pull up, the introduction of the preference. Let me look at the title. Let me do some investigating on it before I buy the book. A lot of it, that right there, kill him. That right there will make him save a lot of money right there, just off the rip. But it seems like he's just looking at books, and just because it has a title or a catchy title onto it, he's buying it. And just because it has a catchy title on it, most people do believe that if it's wrote in the book, it has to be true. It has to be true because that it's been published. It's been published, so it has to be true. But that will save his brother a lot of money once he learn how to uh, do proper research. He won't make those mistakes in buying those books that he pulls up and puts on the screen at time and regurgitate a lot of the that bad and inaccurate information.
Mm-hmm. What up, Jay? What's good?
I
We
cool,
can't be.
blessed. I was just listening to all your conversation. Um, and with regards to science now, and the theory of knowledge, to ask
Mm-hmm.
what is like. Well, I want to know if all you're familiar with the concepts of like reductionism and emergentism, and if it is that our modern concept of science, which is, I believe, is more based on reductionism and what is called, well, empiricism, reductionism, and dualism is the philosophical framework in which they do science now. But outside of reductionism, they have means of acquiring knowledge, and so what 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 do come from that method of of reducing things to the component parts now. It have the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. So I just wanted to know if all you guys familiar with such concepts and thing, you know.
Nahisa said, hold up. He said, if it's in the book, it's true. What y'all talking about? The Bible? Nah, Nahisa, that was Kofi talking about what dude think is if it's really the book is true. But as far as Akoma, what you're referring to is you're talking about methods, right? I want to make sure I understand what you're saying.
Well,
The way we obtain
exactly.
knowledge.
As far as I like how I understand it, you know, like let we say you're watching the human body or something, like a reductionist method would be to break it down into the different systems, like the circulatory system, the nervous system, um, whatever pathways it might have. You know what I'm saying? So science have found a lot of success using the reductionist
Well,
framework of
yeah.
um of understanding things now. But but the reductionist framework itself does produce what is called fragmentary knowledge. You know, it doesn't um it doesn't fully like the alternative to reductionism is what is called holism and the phenomena of emergentism, where you might have properties what you get from the interaction of a higher level of organization than what you will get from the lower level um, parts of the system. I don't know if you would follow along with what I'm saying.
Okay, so really when you're dealing with science, right? When you're dealing with science, you're dealing with a field. So depending on which field you're dealing with, it's requiring you to know and to do. And in order to do, you have to know what you're doing in order to demonstrate uh, the methods that are required and to utilize that by gathering your evidence and presenting that information forward. So yeah, quite you said something about the reduction. If it's something that can be reduced or falsified, so to say, depending on how you're defining deduction. If you're talking about falsification, science job is to falsify that in that observation or whatever it is in the natural world, because we're dealing with real world things, not beliefs. So if science job is for you to know and to do, and you apply those to try to falsify or reduce or deduct something, then it's not scientific. So it's to eliminate the things that are pretty much BS and elevate the things that are pretty much um, that are susceptible to moving life forward. Because you have to remember when you're dealing with the body of science, the body of science and the main parts of the body of science is that key word, that knowledge, that's advancing people forward. It's not keeping people stuck or hindering people from staying, or keeping people behind. So you're always looking to advance knowledge when you're referring to science. So if you give us an example, like if based on what you're going with, if you give us an example, what are we really trying to so to say study in this instance of the question? Like, if are we looking at the stars, or are we looking at vaccines, or are we looking at the current
Okay.
in the ocean?
Well, let me see. When I was reading upon it now, the example what they was given is, let me say you would have the sciences, astronomy, physics, chemistry, biology, sociology. Now, each one of these sciences equal, but in terms of classification, in terms of what is called positivity, they ascending. So astronomy is the most positive, then physics, but upon physics is derived chemistry, and from upon chemistry is derived molecular biology, and from biology is then up into sociology. So they sometimes say, "Oh, sociology is the queen science now." But I was just basically bringing up those terms in terms of wondering if all you're aware that it is have the theory of knowledge that that's be behind the methodology. Then you understand. So I think it is something we might even warrant or to do some checking upon the concept of reductionism as opposed to holism and emergentism and positivity. These are the kind of philosophical classifications what certain Europeans and thing was coming up with. Adam Comte and certain people who in the Enlightenment period and thing when they was trying to decipher epistemology and thing correctly now. You know what I mean? But I don't think it have what I mean the whole point of me broaching the topic basically is to bring to the awareness then that they have other forms of acquiring knowledge then outside of empiricism and reductionism. You know that that is what I
Um,
was
okay, so you're saying
bringing up.
basically, correct me if I'm wrong. Is there a way to obtain knowledge outside
Mhm.
of the realm of science? You could okay, so
Well,
let me say this. Like, all right, so is there another way to obtain knowledge? I would say you could get something right, but that does not mean you have obtained knowledge. You guesswork, right? Because if you can't demonstrate it, which is what is
all right.
required
Let me.
in science,
Mhm.
no matter which field it is, that's why I said the field of
Mhm.
science. If you can't demonstrate it, then it's guesswork. So because science is going to ask you to demonstrate, and you're going to have to defend your position based on qualitative or quantitative uh, information that you've gathered that had and has it been scrutinized. So, you know, for instance, let's deal with what we just talked about earlier. Like the brother wrote a book about the land of Mu and that this is America's Africa, so to say. If that is the case, right? What archaeological evidence do you have to qualify that position? Not only that, what other scientific data do you have that would support that claim so it's not easily falsified? So we would need to look at all the fields of science in this instance are interplay when trying to make that particular geographical argument. So where would that data be in order to obtain that? Right now, we're working backwards, and that wouldn't be scientific, right? Because we're arguing someone's guesswork, right? And it was concluded it was guesswork, and just by the position of the book, the way it's reading out and the way it was being said to us, it was a hypothesis argued as a conclusion based on no data. So we couldn't obtain any knowledge from that book
Yeah.
because it
Well,
was trash.
now definitely that book and that mooting and thing. That's a whole different concept. But I'll just say that as anybody who interested in science and the origins of scientific thought, um, these kind of perspectives then it come like a key to be aware of now. You know what I mean? So what we understand as modern scientific thought is really built upon the concepts um of reductionism and empiricism, yeah, and they have other ontologies and other ways of obtaining correct information, and it is, as I say, I talk about the phenomenon called emergentism. That is when they say the whole is more than the sum of its parts. No? You understand? So it might have something where unexplainable when you break it down to the component parts. But when it's in a whole thing, then it have phenomena that emerging out of the whole phenomena. I know for sounding like unintelligible to you or not.
Yeah. Anybody else want to tackle that?
Nah, I'm good.
I figured you would say that.
No.
All right. But yeah, man. So what else you got for us?
No, well,
Yeah.
that real heavy, it heavy. That's what I was saying. I just listening to all the conversation, man. But as
Mm-hmm.
as brothers who come like is like scientific information and thing in your spare time, go and check out them terms, the reductionism,
Yeah.
emergentism,
I mean,
you know,
we familiar with reduction.
holism.
You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
because
Reduction. Okay, we got
I
you.
didn't hear what you said there.
No, I said I'm familiar with reductionism, but and that stuff because deduction and reduction. I mean, we're familiar with that, but as far as what we talked about earlier, what's your
No,
take?
well, it's slightly now. Well, with what you're talking about with Moo and thing, obviously the brother he in a kind of neophyte stage trying to deal with information and things. So I don't even know how it is as like how he said, I don't even know how they do in a whole show on what he was talking about the Lana Moo and all of that sort of thing, you know what I mean? Like I didn't understand it, but I was just taking it in.
Gotcha. But yeah, man. So we at that point, man. We at, you know what I'm saying? The hopefully people will get through this and understand what we got going on. But we're gonna go ahead and wrap up, man. Anybody got any last words before we end? Sue take in the chat.
Yeah, man, best up. Good night.
All right, buddy. Kofi. Kofi hiding out. Well, I'm gonna rock out if it's me by myself. I'm gonna talk crazy. I'm gonna mess the whole show up. Cause I'm gonna talk my ish. But anyway, y'all. So the moral of the story, keep it. Moral of the story is keep it simple, man. Listen, research methodology is important, and we tend to display several errors based on not knowing how to do research. We jump to conclusions, right? We jump to conclusions too damn quick. We make an argument out of everything too quick. We argue from ignorance often, and people get away with it because it's people don't know how to disseminate that information fast enough, to get by. So I think that we got to slow it down, and we just got to deal with what we got to deal with in the light of the moment. And hopefully, people will learn a lot from other people's ignorance, because we just saw a boatload of ignorance. But like I said, let me see. I don't know where Sutek at, and I don't know where Kofi at. We need to learn how to think efficiently. That's correct. Totally agree. Yep, you've been on it today. Civ 2, you've been on it. There's a lot of things that we need to do. Think if we applied methodology. Just think if we applied those tools, right? Those scientific tools to answer some of our real life problems, then we'll be able to get out of, a lot of the stuff that we're in mentally. It's my opinion. Kofi over there designing clothes. Now, what have I always said? Oh my goodness, Ben is right. Yep, I seen on post too. Crazy Pseudo. Yeah, it's Pseudo. You promote them books like that, it's Pseudo. I don't keep letting the people back in. But man, that's gonna be it for me, man. You know what I'm saying? We're just gonna end up rambling. And then they ran off the chat like some little squares, a bunch of L7s. I'm gonna beat the shit. I can't wait to be able to use at least 50% of my brain. Science is everything we've done so far, so not a religion. Yep. Science is the human faculty of intelligence. Yep. Science is a human faculty for intelligence. What else leads in perceiving knowledge? What other way is there to observe our experiences? Imagination? It's a great question. Yep. Epistemophobia. It's a strange thing. But y'all crazy, man. On that note, man, look for Science with Sean. I might drop something tomorrow. I don't know. I got stuff loaded up. If you haven't subscribed to Science with Sean, subscribe. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, subscribe. If you haven't subscribed to the Masa Warrior Clan channel, subscribe. Pseudo Killers, subscribe. Real Black Atheism, subscribe. And that's how we're rocking. We're going to keep the information coming. We're going to keep the lectures coming. We're going to keep the lessons coming. We're just going to keep coming. We're going to beat it all the way up until it can't be beat no more. So what if we got to kick a dead horse? Sometimes you got to do that. I don't know if Kofi or Sutek could be, or Satepan Ra or T'Challa or Chavis or anybody will be live tomorrow. But if so, make sure you tune into that, because you never know with Kofi. And of course, with the Scholars Corner and all of that he does, I don't know who he going to have next. So on that note, I'm going to hit y'all with that payal.
Yeah.
What up, man? What you got for the people, man, before we close out?
Tomorrow, be on the lookout. I'll be dropping a presentation. 1 o'clock Kofi time. I guess the Central time. I I got like one or two of them in the chamber, so I don't know exactly which one I'm gonna do. But yeah, man, y'all just be on the lookout, man. Y'all come through tomorrow in the afternoon. We'll be dropping it.
There you have it, 1 p.m. Central Time. So that'll be about 11 California time, Pacific time. You know what I'm saying? I think H time, they in that same time zone as Central. And then it's gonna go from there. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen. We gonna get on up out of here, slide out, man. Y'all enjoy y'all evening. Look for Sutek tomorrow on this channel right here. We're gonna be live. We're gonna be right back at it. And then on that note, y'all know how it goes.
Log in to KofiPaisaTV.com and get Spears of the Mossy Volume 1 by Kofi Paisa Research Team, from Spears the Pen Volume 2 by Kofi Paisa Research Team, Spiritual Combat Volume 3 by Kofi Paisa Research Team, One Night Before Bed by Any Harek Shun Calfunny, Kalawa's Trip to the Motherland by Kofi Paisa, From Cocaine to Consciousness by Any Harek Shun Calfunny, As I Learned, We All Learn by Kofi Paisa. Also, if you want fresh merch, go to our online store, Family Connect Apparel, and get all the brands. Also, get our 54 deck of quiz and educational cards available now on KofiPaisaTV.com.